What's going on, guys? Welcome to another or one of the episodes of the More Than a Side Hustle podcast, where we help 9-to-5ers create more impact, income, and influence outside their jobs. If you guys haven't been here, my name is Anthony.
And I am Janoka, and we are back. We are back. I'm just thinking of a TikTok sound.
What sound is that?
We should do it, actually, the content to show us being back. Anyway.
We should, actually.
Yeah, we can do it after. Anyway, we are back from a break. I think the last time we sat down here was like May, so maybe 3-4 months.
I did one.
You did one, yeah.
I did one.
Okay, maybe 3-4 months it's been since we last sat down here, and this episode we are going to provide all the life updates that's been happening in our life.
And did we quit the podcast? Did we quit the show? Did we quit the content? We did not quit. We just took a necessary and needed break. And the problem with a break is...
Did we do 2.5 years straight, or was it?
We did 2.5 years straight of episodes. And the problem with the break is that we didn't tell you guys we were taking a break. So number one, I want to apologize on behalf of...
I was saying thank you for sticking around if you did, but
some people did. We lost a lot of views because we weren't keeping up with the content. And the problem is that we didn't tell you guys that we were going to take a break. And honestly, we didn't know we were going to take a break.
Every week you're like, when are we going to get back in there? When are we going to get back in there? I'm like, yeah.
It's like one of those things when life happens, it just keeps going, and then it doesn't become a priority for you. But we do appreciate you guys who stuck around. The viewership has dropped tremendously, but anybody who's been listening and tuning in,
but listen, it's Q4. We're getting ready for the new year. We're ending the year with a bang. Come back. We're here. We are back to continue to show up. So
we started our podcast around this time.
We did start our podcast in December, last week in November, about 3 years ago. Yeah. Why we were starting in the holiday season and being pregnant and buying the house, I don't know. And changing jobs, no idea. But whatever, it works, it works.
So we didn't quit. We are here. We were taking a necessary break, and listen, and life continued to happen. As you guys know, your lives continue to happen. We know whether we were in it, whether we were not in it, whether you guys were consuming the content, life continued to happen, especially for us. And this episode is going to be about those life happenings because a lot has changed in the last 3 months, I would say.
Yes, and what the changes has taught us is that life doesn't stop for anybody. Yes, you know that, obviously, but when things happen that feel like knocks you out of breath or knocks you down, and you're like, I still got to show up in my business, or I still got to show up at my job. I still got to show up as a parent, as a spouse, all these things. Life does not wait for anybody. And I guess that can be a good thing, but sometimes it feels like I need it to slow down.
Life don't care. And people don't care, honestly.
Yes.
Like, you guys was like, listen, we don't care what's going on in your lives. We still want our emails. We still want our content. We still want our social media. We still gonna ask you guys questions, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with knowing that, whatever happens in your life, people really don't care, and that's totally fine. You got to be okay with people not caring, because once they don't care, you realize that you got to keep this stuff going.
Yeah. So let's start off with some of the major things. And I'm talking the things that just happened in our life, which we're going to get into right now, is the biggest things that can happen in your life. All happen within really like a 2-month span or less, but that's that. So we'll start with one. We lost Tony's younger brother around July 4th holiday season. That was a week after we had a baby shower down here in Dallas, celebrating with family and friends.
Yep.
Less than a week, days later, we found out that his brother passed away.
Yeah, man. So that was a very tragic incident. A lot of people was asking questions about, were we close, or was this like a far away brother? And it was like, nah, this is my youngest brother, my baby brother. So I lost him to an accident that happened in New York. And it was a freak accident. It was an incident at a pool party. Situations happen. And I think one of the biggest, I'm the type of person like, all right, I lost my father growing up. So I've experienced the closest people that you could lose in your
best
life.
Friend.
And my best friend. So I lost my father when I was 13 or so, and I found him, passed away. So I've experienced death at a very young age, and the way I process it might not be the same way other people process. And the whole episode's not gonna be about this. So if you guys are like, oh, it's a gloomy episode, it's not. We're talking about life and we're talking about death. Right? So this episode might have been condolences and congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we wrote down. I had to check that
because a lot of people were saying condolences and congratulations at the same time. And as I was saying, like I experienced death at a young age, so the way I process it might not be the same as most people. Because I'm of the mindset, like, I understand life goes on because I had to experience it at a young age. Like, when my father passed, I was like, all right, you know, you can't stay out of school. You got to go back to school. Like, that's, like, you got to get back to school. You got to get back to work and things like that. So, when my youngest brother passed, I literally had a Zoom call. I went to the gym the day he passed. Like, I got the news, and I was like, yo, I got to keep my routine going. And I was like, you know what? Let me not go to the gym. And some people may say, you got to sit down, you got to process, and you got to think through things. And I understand that. But for me, most people don't want to just sit in that type of stuff, right? They want to be able to get their lives going. So
it's not that you don't care. It's just that it's hard to just sit in it.
Sit in that silence and just think about it. Just think about it. So I have my moments, you know, I'll be watching a TV show and it's like, damn. And it's sometimes it don't even feel real, right? But we was watching the TV show, I'm like, yo, this is too close to home. And
that's the biggest thing that you've said, that it doesn't feel real.
Yeah. And that's a part of grieving, right? You have that, what's it called? Denial. And I'm in denial sometimes, and I'm also in the like, yeah, this has happened. Like, I understand it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So it's not like I'm completely oblivious of it happening, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And then it's like, well, it did happen and it did make sense because I went through the whole investigation and everything. So, but the thing that I was saying was that kind of relates to it. Life doesn't stop, because I had a coaching call with somebody that same day or the day after. And they were telling me how, you know, shout out to them for showing for that call as well. Because like I said, we all process things differently. And they were saying that I almost didn't show up to this call because I had someone in my family try to commit suicide. And I said, I commend you for even showing up to this call, because I can understand how difficult that could be. But I was like, on the bright side, they tried to commit suicide and they're still here. Yep. And I was like, I'm not going to give you the inner workings of my life, but I literally just lost my younger brother and I'm still here, right? And I'm able to share this story with you, and your life is still able to go on with yourself and your family, your family member that tried to commit suicide. So at the end of the day, life doesn't stop for anyone. So that was a huge, huge, huge life update that happened throughout this time.
Unexpected, of course.
And I posted on social media. I was like, yo, if y'all comment condolences, y'all gonna get the mini chat automation that sends you to my webinar. And I still been doing my live workshops. Go to cleaningbusinessmasterclass.com. That's been happening every single week. That's another thing that's been going on. So
business, yeah. So that was that happened, and we kind of was like, wait a minute, what?
And that didn't just happen to me. It happened to you as well. So
yeah. But at the same time, it's like, one, I am weeks away from delivering, maybe 2 weeks away from delivering. So you don't want to get too worked up because you don't want to stress yourself, have an early delivery, things like that. Then Anthony had to fly back home to kind of be with his family. So I was here alone, pregnant, very pregnant with Alani. And so we utilized our community here and babysitters and friends and family, stuff like that, to assist if I needed anything. So that was just a process within itself, because then 2 weeks later, July 18th, our baby girl came. Our baby girl, Amaya Hartzog. Yay!
Second kid came 2 weeks after the death of my younger brother.
Yeah, she's now 3 months, so we really haven't sat down here. She's now a little over 3 months. She came, and a week after that, we had to fly back to New York to bury him and do his services and everything like that. So that was a whirlwind of like being sad and happy at the same time. That's why
Very
Anthony
weird
said
emotions.
that people were saying like condolences and congratulations at the same time.
In the same sentence.
At the funeral, they're saying it. You're like, you know, and it was a whole thing of, obviously we don't want to travel with our kid, all of that. We don't want to, within days, me traveling, you could get blood clot, all these things, but we had to show up and be there during that time. Thankfully, we all were safe and healthy and came back home and were well, but we lost someone 2 weeks later. We delivered a baby girl a week later. We had to go back to New York to kind of close out, if you will, the losing of his brother, and then come back. So that was really, you think you have tough times in life, and then when things like this happen, it's like, okay, all right, Lord. You ever seen when people say like, I don't want to be your strongest soldier anymore, take me off that 2025 list? That's kind of what it felt like during this time. And it didn't, let me be clear, it didn't end there. But that's what we were dealing with July, essentially.
Yeah.
Just grieving with that, trying to be happy, and then also showing up for your other child, because there's not just one now, there's two of them, showing up for our other child.
And that's the importance of community as well, because like Janoka said, our friends and family showed up for us crazy. Like they're talking about just bringing us food, making sure we're good, checking in. When I was unavailable or I was out of town, our family down here, that's our friends that became family down here, made sure Janoka was good. So having a community is super important outside of this like social media thing. Like having real people around you who could support you, who could step in times of need is so important, especially in this day and age. So that is condolences and congratulations at the same damn time.
At the same time. And then in the midst of that, we had our pair come. And we're going to do a whole episode on what is the au pair, but it's really it's a culture exchange program where someone comes from another country and they live with you for a year, 2 years in exchange for the culture exchange, and also they are taking care of your children. They do live with you, and so there's a whole process. I know you're probably like, what the hell? It's a whole background process that we'll get into another episode, but we had our pair come. She came from Colombia, and that's an adjustment too, right? You have a new baby, you're dealing with grief, and now you have to get someone comfortable living in your home, and you have to get comfortable with someone living in your home. The rules, culture differences, personalities, all of that we dealt with during that time also.
Yeah, that's been a huge adjustment because I'm of the mindset. I'm not of the mindset. I'm a type of person. I like my personal space.
Yeah.
So it was very, very different for me to be able to say, you know what, we're gonna have somebody live with us, and you know, she's been living with us for 3 months now.
It's been 3 months, has it? Oh, she came 2 months after Maya, yeah.
So we had somebody living with us for 3 months, and now we got to do an episode on that because there's been a lot of questions. We've learned a lot about the process, but everyone has been asking questions about
like, what is it?
What is it? So I think that's going to be a you know, just like we had our doula on and she told us what the doula process is. I think this could help a lot of people who may not know what this process is and what it entails.
And the availability of it,
and things that happen that you could actually, this is attainable for anyone to do. So we'll catch you guys up on that one. So that's been a help.
That's been a help. As you know, like we said, we had it with Alani. We had a nanny for 2 years, and so now we have someone living with us for a year that helps with both of the children, and that was that. We didn't even touch on this. Was an adjustment, but Alani has been adjusting well to baby sister. We should kind of say that.
Super important.
Because I know a lot of people ask like how she's doing. She's pretty obsessed with her right now. People always say when the baby starts moving and kind of taking toys and stuff, maybe that's when things will change. But I don't want y'all negative stuff on my family. But she's been doing well.
Said, I don't want y'all N-word stuff on.
No, negative. Negative. Whoa. She's doing well. Once in a while, she may pop a bow off her head or take a pacifier. But other than that, she's adjusting well and very excited about her baby sister.
Alani's been doing pretty good in school too. So
yes,
she's been doing pretty good in school, getting her Spanish up.
Yeah, that's been good.
Inglés, yo no sé, mañana. ¿Cómo te llama?
What the hell?
You already know the vibes.
Anyway, you sound like a typical New Yorker. You already know the vibes. Anyway, so that's that. So we had our
New Yorkers going to the World Series.
Yes, and the
Liberty.
Just one. I mean, New York is up. New York is always up, but congratulations to New York. So our pair came. Next up in our list of life changes was 3 weeks. So a week after our pair came, I got a call and I was laid off from my job. 9 years. You just have to laugh at things like that. 9 years at this company. There was a reduction in force, which just means that there's multiple layoffs, which was the second one in less than a year. The first one was last year, October. And they eliminated my position. And that was kind of it. They told me, they gave me a month to kind of really stay on. So it wasn't like an immediate thing. I was on for a month. And then now I just have like a package with them that I'm kind of getting paid till January. But I am going through the unemployment process, things like that. And that was another bomb. Now, you may say you guys have spoken about this, blah, blah, blah. And yes, we have spoken about this. I think the biggest thing was, I don't know if this is going to be a separate episode, but the biggest thing was the season and the timing, of course. All those things that we just explained, we just went through to now have this happen. It's like, okay, I don't know how much more we can take. However, I'm not that upset. I think there was like a 20% of me that was like, damn, after 9 years, that's it. Your job and career does become your identity. So it kind of feels like, what next? But 80% of me says like, all right, now we can go all in on some of these things that we said we were going to do.
Y'all might get more content on the podcast. We'll see. But that leads
us. See.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to do a whole episode on that one?
I don't know if it's a whole episode worthy of thing. You think you got a whole episode in you of that?
I don't know.
Maybe 10 minutes.
You guys let us know.
But it depends. Maybe there's more to it.
Because I think that so yes, we did an episode on when you will leave your job, and we were always talking about, when you leave your job, and
I think it can be episode.
And the scariness about it. And I think one of those things is that you will never be ready. Like, you will never be ready. Even when I left my job, I was not ready. I was scared. It was like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Mm-hmm. Then you finally do it and say, oh my God, am I ready? And you still have that uneasiness. So I know some of you guys are sitting there like, well, you guys got this, you guys got that. It makes it easier. No, it doesn't make it easier.
No, because I would have done it before. If it was easy.
It allows you to say, okay, I feel a little bit more at ease about it, but it doesn't make it easier to do it.
Yes.
So sometimes you got to rip off that Band-Aid, which is what they did. And another lesson is that I don't care how much tenure you think you got at your 9 to 5, they can come in and get rid of you the next day.
Yeah, I always say.
Absolutely. I worked in my job for just about the same amount of time as you did, but I had the ability to leave my job. Mm-hmm. If I would have kept going, I might have gotten the boot as well eventually. They might have been like, Aunt, you don't want to be here. Time for you to dip. So I don't want you guys to think that you got all the security in the world. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how long you've been there. If you do not own it, they can come and take it from you. So that's the lesson that anybody could take from having a job is that, yes, we never tell you that we never on this show, we say you guys should quit your job.
No.
Never on our, if you can find it, you let me know and we'll delete it. We'll remove it. Never on our social media platforms, we said you should quit your job. We said you should have other sources of income so that when this day comes, you will be prepared. And even though it won't make it easy, it will make you feel more at ease when it does come, or if it does come.
Because the day could come 3 weeks into maternity leave, okay? That's when the day could come.
Which is absolutely shitty that they did that. They fired you 3 weeks into maternity leave. But, hey, I fired someone right after they dropped their baby.
Yeah, but we spoke about that. She
but
was doing things that...
It was still, I had to do it. You had the baby, and it was like, all right, cool, I had to fire you. Like,
it is what it is. The baby's just another...
it is what it was. Like, that was the nature of my role. And it's like, Anthony, you can't keep giving this person these chances. And like, I only control so much. So I know your boss only controls so much.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's just a job to them. They're like, you know what? We're going to replace you with somebody else. So your job is replaceable. You are replaceable.
Yeah. So that also happened. That took us by a shocker. And
did it really? That's why I'm like, this could be a whole nother episode because I wasn't shocked by it. It was kind of like there was some writing on the wall where they had.
It was a shocker in that didn't expect it, but when you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, there was some writing on the wall that was happening. Yeah. I was pointing some things out, like, oh, they want you to write this down and write this. Like, okay, the excuse could have been because you're going on maternity leave. But the other excuse could have been because they were looking to document.
They were looking. Which I did know that before I left that the company was probably going into another reduction in force. I was aware of that. A RIF, as they like to call it.
I learned about that. I didn't know what that was.
I didn't know either. And I had let someone go last October, and I'm like, huh?
So that's why we talk about having that second stream of income, having something that second thing. So if you guys want to learn more about that, you could check out cleaningbusinessmasterclass.com where we teach you how to start and scale a cleaning business, which we still have to this day.
So we could make another episode as well, I agree, because we can speak about like our dynamics now that I'm not at work. That's a good one.
Okay. You guys like it? You guys like it? Comment it. Yo, we back, baby. We in here.
So hopefully now we can have another
Hopefully
one.
Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. And another thing is, all right.
Us showing up?
Yeah. So we'll leave it at that. So that was another.
That was another.
We talk about strongest soldiers.
That was another situation. Yeah, that was another situation. Now the last situation. So and I pray to God that is the last for a long time was that Anthony had to have back surgery.
Yep.
So you want to speak about that?
Surgery as recent as a week ago.
So 2 years ago you had.
So 2 years ago I had a hernia. I think I did an episode on this about. 2 years ago, I had a herniated disc and I had to have a discectomy, which is essentially them removing a part of your disc in your spine. Mm-hmm. So I felt better. I felt relief. And then I ran, as you guys know, I ran that half marathon in April. So that was like one of my big goals for the year. I wanted to get back out there and get running. So that could have started this process all over again. But essentially, April, May, June. June, I had an MRI because my back was hurting again. And then July, I started like really feeling this pain. And then August was like when it was like, all right, I can't even move. It's been 6 weeks
if you're not working out or something like that.
I was like, I can't move. So I went to get the MRIs. I went to get the X-rays, PTs. And the doctor, she showed my disc. And essentially, it looked like a big balloon in my back. So essentially had surgery about a week ago. And they removed the balloon. And I'm starting to feel relief again. So I learned a lot about, I'm going to specifically do an episode on that. It might just be an audio-only episode because I learned a lot about what happened over these last 2 years and things that I could have avoided, because I think the biggest lesson was that I waited until the pain was so severe until I did something about it. Because I could have did something back in June. I had the MRI. It wasn't as bad, but I waited until it was so severe. So I think I'm going to do an episode on that. But I had surgery and I'm moving again. I couldn't even sit down in this chair I was in the bed.
That was another reason why there was a few weeks back we're ready, but you couldn't sit down, so we weren't ready.
So that was, but I'm recovering now. I'm moving again. As you guys can see, I'm sitting up. I'm a little uncomfortable here, but I'm showing up, guys. Like, we still showing up at the end of the day.
Now that I'm listening to all these things, I'm like, was some type of juju on us? You ever hear people say that? Like,
hopefully y'all don't think about us. Like, if y'all listen to this episode and y'all putting juju on us, that's not good.
No. When you hear all these stuff, it's kind of like, whoa, what was happening in that household? But either way, we have come out on the other side of it. We wanted to let our audience know, as we're very transparent as possible, what has been going on. We didn't just stop because we just stopped, but we just wanted to let everyone know what life has looked like. But our businesses have not stopped because it can't. We got people we got to pay. We got money we got to make.
We got students. We got communities we got to show up for.
Things like that.
I was taking my community calls in the bed, like laying down, camera off. Like, yo, I'm still showing up. And we can still show up through all of this stuff.
Yeah, and so with the loss of my job and the question happens like, what's next for us? And I think we both realize, especially me, that we want to continue to show up online, but not just the cleaning business. And that's been a hard kind of conversation of how do we transition our audience? Does our audience even want to hear that? Do we have to do something separate? All of that, those questions kind of come up of, I don't only want to talk about the cleaning business, but are they going to listen, or should we just focus on this? So that's something that we're also figuring out. As you know, this podcast has always been, yes, business, but personal things we speak about, things that we find that can be helpful for our audience. We talk about it. I have personally started my own TikTok page outside of the Harchimony.
She started her own content.
I'm doing my own content.
We'll put that link in the bio somewhere.
Yeah, that's exciting. Link in bio to follow me. You can follow my personal page on Instagram too. But it's funny because a week before.
What's the TikTok page about?
See, I'm trying to figure it out. So that's the thing.
What have you been doing so far?
Let me tell you. A week before or the week of. Shut up. The week we had our baby, I had posted a video on Harchimony just saying, like, I want to do things outside of Anthony, which he has always encouraged, but I just was like, ain't nobody want to hear nothing. So I just said I want to do more, and people gave a lot of feedback, which thank you, and I'm using some of that as well. But I decided to finally, like, just start my own TikTok page to just come out with information. So what am I talking about on there? I've spoken about my fertility journey. I've spoken about the loss of my job. I've spoken about working out, going out as husband and wife, getting back to that, dating each other. Just a plethora of things. I don't really have a niche yet. I'm just putting it all out there and seeing what sticks. And I'm enjoying, I'm enjoying making the content. I had a challenge. So all those things I've been doing on my personal page, more on TikTok, but I've been bringing some of it to Instagram as well. So that's the season that I'm in, just figuring out, yes, still doing cleaning business stuff. That's not going to change, but that's not all I want to do. I want to do more. So that's part of what we as a unit, yes, it's a me thing, but it impacts both of us of how we both show up and what we do together. So
yeah, definitely.
This podcast will continue. I consider doing my own podcast. So It's a lot happening. It's a lot happening here.
So we'll see. We'll see what it turns into. Definitely go check her out. TikTok.com/Janelka. Okay. We'll put the link in the bio. So that you guys, I think it's Janelka.
Well, we'll see.
We don't know. We'll make sure they go check it out. But yeah, man, that's So we're gonna keep this thing going. So appreciate y'all tapping in. We wanted to make sure you guys just got caught up before we dove into topics and segments and all of that stuff. So Yes, life is still going on. We still continue. We are still here, and those who stuck around appreciate it. Everyone who is brand new that's starting to tune in.
Welcome,
y'all. Welcome.
Go back and binge some of our stuff. We have a lot of information.
Yes, so we're gonna keep these episodes going. Now, again, it might not be every week. We still got to figure out the cadence of what it looks like, but we want to show up in a way that it's not forced.
Yeah.
I think when you have to show up every single week, it kind of makes it forced. We got something to talk about, we'll come and talk about it. If we don't, we might not. But we want to, we've done over 2 years of just consistency, but we also didn't want to just leave y'all hanging. So, we'll drop some episodes because we're not saying we quitting the show, but it might not be as weekly, right? It might be every other week. It might be a new update. It might be a quick 5-minute segment. It might be Janoka's segment, like her motherhood segment. Might be about entrepreneurship. Might be about cleaning business. Might be a guest. So
we're doing it all. Listen,
we've always done it all.
Yeah.
We're going to appreciate you guys for just tapping in, tuning in, dropping comments, and let's keep this thing going.
Bye-bye.
Leave us a review, y'all. It's been a little bit, yo.
Joe, I should go check to see.
Have we got any new reviews?
I don't know, but probably because it's been a bit. Y'all like, I ain't leaving no review because they ain't seeing it and they ain't shouting me out. So
listen, if y'all leaving us reviews throughout this time, appreciate it. There might be some new ones there. It might not be. But we like to read the reviews on the episode. So make sure guys go check them out. And Janoka's still trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
You would think she understood this by now?
No, I do, but I just...
All right, y'all. If y'all left this review, we appreciate reading on next one.
Yeah,
we'll see you guys next time. And thank you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Peace.